much talking. The ratio of girls is to boys is almost same. All right. So, for example, a batch of 160 students, out of which, look, my math is bad. Let me just do the maths in my head. Yes, 9 were girls and 70 of us were boys. All right. You will have a good time. All right. You will get good company. You will have a fine company in National Law University. So that is something that you should definitely look forward to. I would now like to call some of the students on stage announced a while ago. So, can we have Rishabh, Shivani, and Akshat, Sarthak? Uday Aditya is here. I think we're just waiting for Uday Aditya. Do we have enough chairs? I think we'll have to add some more chairs to the stage. Shrishti, Aditya Bhargav, Anushka, Rena. So this is going to be a very, very informative session, and I know all the aspirants who are looking forward to this session. So before Justice Upadhyay arrives, I'm just going to quickly start with the panel discussion. Once he comes, we'll have the keynote address, and then we will continue with the strategy discussion before we move on to the felicitation ceremony. Mics are not there? Alright, so now I'm going to quickly hand over the mic to Sudhi ma'am, and the session that you've all been waiting for, our current students. She's just feeding them what exactly to say, so give us 10 seconds for that.
Hi, sorry, I'm just giving a quick briefing. इन्होंने मेरा नमक खाया 2 दिन. Okay. So, jokes aside, I'll just shoot a few questions, and whoever is ready for this, please talk, okay? And right. So, quick ones. Is it easy to crack CAT or study for it? Go, Anushka, don't wait for anyone.
Provided you have the right mentors like at CAT.
इतना नमक नहीं खिलाया. Thank you, Anushka. I really love you, and I know you love us. Okay, just quickly, whatever you feel. So, Anushka, I think, is talking about mentorship. She has been a regular student, classroom student, and I've been talking about it endlessly in the classes. Regularity, coming to class. You have to come to class for us to help you. It's too much to expect. I mean, I have to charge a lot more if I have to reach out to you at homes. So it's okay. I provide those services. But you have to come to class. You have to show up. And you have to ask for help. Right? Yes. Anyone else?
As you said, I would just say do it consistently. It's not like hard, but you have to do it consistently.
सृष्टि पार्टी ज़्यादा होगी. आवाज़ ही नहीं निकल रही है.
So,
just quickly introduce yourselves, your rank and college. Also, Anushka, starting with you since you spoke in Srishti. Don't expect that you're famous. Shah Rukh Khan नाम तो सुना ही होगा. ऐसा नहीं है.
I'm Anushka. I got 8161 and
I am Aditya Bhargav. I got an AIR of 85.
There's not much of conceptual thing. Like if you see, for example, JEE or NEET, there are a lot of concepts, a lot of chapters that you need to do. That's not probably the same thing with CLAT, but it's just that you need to, just keep practicing, give mocks, give sectional tests, study for GK. And if you do that, just, be regular with it. There should not be a disconnect with your preparation, because if that's the case.
Facebook, and we organize a lot of book discussions. Right, Anushka, you remember? I remember that message. Thank you for that message, because I have not been doing it for 2 months now. we have to get back to book discussions. So can you quickly talk about it, because lots of students are asking, do they have to read novels? And I think you did participate in the book discussions and you read the books. So do you think that helped?
So I already had an interest towards reading, but it was ultimately CP and the reading centric pattern of CLAT that got me into reading like avidly. And I got inspired from ma'am's book buff idea to start reading more regularly. And I got so inspired that I started my own bookstagram. But guys, don't do that. That might distract you as well. Reading is very thing so that when you encounter a passage in your exam from that sort of genre, you will feel comfortable with it, and that is really a huge relief. You will ultimately realize that once you start giving more mocks. So I'd say that yes, start reading and start with anything you like. Also stay tuned with the book buff page.
Yeah, we'll start that very shortly. And thank you so much for that message. I really need some pushing, because it's too much to organize book discussions and get you all to read. So we publish a book that you have to read and publish a date of discussion. It's very nice if you read it until that date and then participate in the discussion. Really, really gives you a boost for your reading requirements for the paper. Very quickly, we'll move to GK. So GK and CR sometimes. So for some people, GK is the nemesis. For some, is critical reasoning. I think GK is sometimes the nemesis for everyone, because no matter what you study and what you do, something happens, and it just is something that you cannot contain. But still, how to keep at it? Whoever hasn't spoken, so Akshat, Sarthak, Reena. Uh,
So I'll mention about GK one thing. First of all, just don't take GK on your ego. Like you are not supposed to solve all 35 questions and don't even hope to solve them. Because to be very frank, GK is out of your league. It's out of everyone's league. So no matter what you do, no matter how much you read, how much you study, you will never be able to get like even a 30 plus score in the CLAT examination, because it doesn't happen, because you never know, like there are 35 questions. Now on what topics they'll be based, and what exactly those questions will be, you can never predict that. Nobody can. But what is very important for the GK preparation is that you have to stay loyal to your material and to your notes especially. In fact, I've mentioned this a lot of times. More than different kinds of books and stuff like that, the notes that you make for your own self, the crisp and effective notes, they help more, because once you make your own notes, you're able to retain a lot of stuff. And never think that GK is a if you're studying so much for GK, don't ever think that it's a waste, because at the end of the CLAT paper you're like कि I studied so much, I did this, I did that, and questions तो केवल like 35 questions ही आए उसमें से, and this topic was not asked, that topic was not asked. It's okay, it's a part of the paper, and that happens with everyone. So just focus on yourself, focus on your hard work, because comparatively GK is one section of the paper that actually makes the aspirant sweat, and that is true. So just put in that sweat, and because make your notes and just be consistent with it, be consistent with your revision and all that stuff. And instead of referring, I've mentioned it a lot of times, and I think this is getting quite repetitive, but I'll say it again. Instead of referring to a lot of sources that I'll cover this, I'll cover that, just stick to what you have and focus on revising stuff and be consistent with that. So I think that helps us ace the GK test. Yeah.
Sarthak, GK and whatever else, that helped you get that lovely rank of yours.
Familiar with, it's highly unlikely that the other students will be familiar with the passages. Like that happened in this year's paper. So I think that what you think is important, what your coaching has told, what CP provides, I think that's enough for GK. And one thing that I would like to say on the reading portion, that in the first few months of your preparation, I think you should develop a good reading base for yourself. Read a lot of newspapers, read novels, read fiction, non-fiction, whatever. And I think that is going to really help in your preparation.
So that's a very important thing that Sarthak said. I think Vishwa wants to add to it. Uh, I think the first few months, this is what I tell all of my students throughout, is build your aptitude, build your reading base. That will then GK can continue to happen throughout. So Rishabh wanted to add something.
So as Akshat said that you have to make your own notes, and even if it's not asked in the paper, it's fine. The one benefit of that is that you get this sort of confidence that all right, if I don't know it, then nobody else knows it. And even if there might be some people who know, for example, this year's paper, distant part, you can always score, let's say, 20 plus in English, 25 plus in English, but scoring 25 plus in GK may not always be possible. So that's also another benefit.
Reena, last few words from you, and then we can begin with the felicitation and the keynote address.
Yeah, just about GK, I think you should just find a few topics that you think are going to be important and that might come. And even if it doesn't come, it will still help you sometimes at least make an educated guess or just eliminate some options because that may sound familiar with some other topics that you may have studied. And yeah, reading is very important and just work on your comprehension and try to make the other three, which are not dependent on external things and unpredictable things, just try to make those three sections stronger.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for those inputs. Uh, you may take your seats now. And over to Abhishek.
Thank you very much, all of you. Thank you so much, all of you. So I hope this session was informative and they discussed about the different sections of the CLAD paper. The Delhi paper this year apparently had a very few legal questions. So Devajyoti and I have already started looking for jobs. And Dr. Geeta Gandhi is one of the most prominent educationists in the city. So I hope that we'll find some place if we come to her. So I'm putting up my guest today. And yes. Again, can we have another round of applause? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking out the time and coming to this event, sir. Thank you so much. Justice Upadhyay enrolled as an advocate on May 11th, 1991. Practiced in civil and constitutional sides at Allahabad High Court, Lucknow bench in Lucknow, and elevated as an additional judge on November 21st, 2011, and took oath as the permanent court who wished to practice law. I think
we don't speak in public generally. We speak through our judgments. A sort of judicial aloofment, we call it, we have to maintain as a measure of self-imposed discipline of a judge. Anyways, a very good afternoon to all of you present here. I feel immensely happy to be amongst you today, thanks to expert in. But something I would like to say today or share with you today about the legal profession. The study of law or legal education has now opened enormous. Employability is not the only goal of life. That is only in the country. She qualified JEE simultaneously. And then, once the result of the CLAT was declared, she refused either to join an engineering college or a medicine school. Now her father was flabbergasted. He could not understand what is happening to my daughter. As to what happens, the realities, the ground realities of the profession. I have no experience of working in a corporate sector or with a law firm, but yes, of course, I have represented in my capacity as an arguing counsel many corporates. I have been engaged by law firms as well. And then I have some basic idea as to what are the functions which are performed by these law graduates entering into a law firm after completing their graduation or opting for a job in the corporate sector. You know, the greatest challenge of joining the litigation, I am saying all this with, again, with the cost of repetition, with a caveat that I am not dissuading anybody sitting here from joining either internship. You are given an MBBS degree, that is a bachelor's of medicine as also a bachelor in surgery. So you by law are licensed to put a cut on my chest using a scissor if you complete 5.5 years of study in medicine. But as a lawyer, you're 6 years, 7 years, 8 in this profession the best. So initial heat and dust, scorching heat in July, and Vakil Saab is running, in the corridor. So God, I have seen very senior advocates in Supreme Court. So if you are able to sail through the initial heat and dust of the profession, then for you sky's the limit. Second, you have to be patient. Patient, if it can be elongated, I don't know to what extent. You have to be very, very patient. You get frustrated many a times comparing yourself, thinking that my friend, my colleague, we studied together. He is every day flying from Bombay with a brief in his hand to Delhi in a three-piece suit and tie. What am I doing here? Still struggling. Still, carrying the basta of my senior. So that kind of frustration sometimes grips me. So you have to be mentally prepared for it. Again, an anecdote from my own life. One of my friends, we studied together. He wrote the civil services, got through it, and he eventually topped the civil services examination, opted for IAS. He is still in UP cadre serving here. He at that time was district magistrate Aligarh. So my senior asked me to draft a petition challenging an order passed with the district magistrate Aligarh. When I saw the order to be challenged and started, contemplating as to what should go in the petition, how to draft, then I suddenly saw the signatory of the order. I would not name the person. I must be around 27, 28 years of age at that time. I started practice of it. I had already put in 6, 7 years. So when I saw this petition